All praises to the Most High God of Abraham, Isaac, and of Jacob. And peace to everyone joining us on this program. You are with us once again, the Fountain of Israel Bible Studies class. And I am Robert. And it is an honor for me to stand before you on the Lord's Sabbath day. We are quickly approaching one of the Lord's Mohidims, or appointed times, one of his holy days, his Passover coming up. So we're going to deal with something about being holy. Okay, so the title of today's lesson is Be Ye Holy, for I am holy. I might shorten that a little bit, but I kind of like that. Be ye holy, for I am holy. And we're going to look a little bit deeper into the dietary law and how important it was for people who kept it. Now, a lot of times people will say, well, you know, that's done away with, or we don't have to do that. And a lot of people keep thinking that the dietary law somehow started in Leviticus 11. But it started in the beginning. And so that's where we are going to go in Genesis. Okay, we're going to go to the beginning and see how the Lord kind of laid things out. Okay, and then we're going to move forward. And we're going to look at some different accounts of this and how important it really is for us to keep this, because he wants us to do this for a purpose. And the purpose is really in the title of the lesson. It's for us to be holy. That's one way of being holy. Okay, so it's not about us just holding our chin up and walking and being pious, and no, that's not being holy. Okay, our holy is what he says we need to do, and if we do it, he says you're holy. And one of the things that we need to do, besides sanctifying ourselves and purifying ourselves and observing the cleanliness laws and things like that, he said that makes you holy. But he also said that eating what he said is okay to eat makes you holy, and avoiding what he says is not okay to eat, the unclean, makes you holy. But we're going to see that through the scriptures, and we're going to let the Bible let us know that right now. So let's begin over in Genesis 1. Let's go to Genesis 1. Again, the title of the lesson is Be Ye Holy, for I am holy. So Genesis 1, and when we get to Genesis 1, which should be very easy for us to find, Genesis 1, let's go to verse 29. Genesis 1 and verse 29. And when you go there, brother, let the Bible speak.
And God said, Behold, I have given you every herb-bearing seed,
yes,
which is upon the face of the earth.
What else?
And every tree in the which is the fruit of a tree yielding seed.
What else?
To you it shall be for meat.
Okay, now to you is going to be for us to what? For meat?
For meat.
Okay, he said, and God said, Behold, I have given you every herb-bearing seed, okay, this is fruits and herbs and things like that, which is upon the face of the earth, and every tree, we know what grows on trees, okay, and in which is the fruit of the tree yielding seed, for what?
To you it shall be for meat.
That was the original diet, okay, that's the original diet. Go ahead, brother.
And to every beast of the earth, and to every fowl of the air, and to everything that creepeth upon the earth, wherein there is life.
Yep.
I have given every green herb for meat, and it was so.
Okay, so he did all that. He gave men herbs and berries and fruit. That was for meat. And to every beast on the earth, and to the fowl of the air, and to everything that creepeth upon the earth, wherein there is life. So everything that breathes the breath of life, everything that has nostrils, okay, everything that breathes, he gave herbs for meat, and it was so. And verse 31.
And God saw everything that he had made, and behold, it was very good.
Yes.
And the evening and the morning were the sixth day.
Okay, see, that was the original diet. See, there was no death, not yet. So that was the original diet, fruits and vegetables, herbs, things like that. That was the original diet. So we're just going to follow what the Lord says. Let's go to Genesis 6. Okay, let's look at a small change here. Genesis chapter 6. Okay, Genesis chapter 6. And we get to Genesis chapter 6, because what we read before was before the flood. Okay, now what we're going to read now is right before the flood happens, okay? So let's notice something real quick. Genesis 6 started at verse 13, brother. Genesis 6 and 13.
And God said unto Noah, The end of all flesh is come before me.
That's because the whole world had become wicked and violent, but go ahead.
For the earth is filled with violence through them.
Yes.
And behold, I will destroy them with the earth.
Okay, so he's ready to get rid of everything, because everything, the whole world was just given into wickedness. Nobody was seeking God, save Noah, of course, and his family. 14, brother.
Make thee an ark of gopher wood. Room shalt thou make in the ark,
Yes.
and shalt pitch it within and without the pitch.
There you go.
And this is the fashion which thou shalt make it of.
Uh-huh.
The length of the ark shall be 300 cubits,
Yes.
the breadth of it 50 cubits,
Yes.
and the height of it 30 cubits.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
A window shalt thou make to the ark,
Mm-hmm.
and in a cubit shalt thou finish it above.
Mm-hmm.
And the door of the ark shalt thou set in the side thereof.
Mm-hmm.
With lower, second, and third stories shalt thou make it.
Okay, so we know the ark, how big it's going to be if we look up cubit. And then he said it's going to be a 3-story boat right there. He just said it in verse 16. A window shall thou make to the ark, and in a cubit shall thou finish it above. Okay, so it's going to be a cubit in height right there. And the door of the ark shall thou set in the side, so on the side of the boat. Okay, a big door on the side of the boat where all the animals load. And lower, second, and third stories shall thou make it. Go ahead, brother.
And behold, I, even I, do bring a flood of waters upon the earth.
Mm-hmm, to do what?
Destroy all flesh,
Mm-hmm.
flesh wherein is the breath of life.
So everything that breathes, face, nostril, lungs, everything that breathes, a lot of people, they say, oh, well, plants breathe. No. Okay, we're talking about animals and man in this case. Go ahead.
From under heaven,
Mhm.
and everything that is in the earth shall die.
Yes, so he's ready to wipe out everything, okay? He's telling Noah, this is what I'm going to do. You're going to build an ark. This is how you're going to build it. And when you're done, I'm going to flood everything. Okay, go ahead, brother.
But with thee will I establish my covenant.
Okay, with you, Noah, I'm going to establish my covenant. And what else?
And thou shalt come into the ark,
Mm-hmm.
thou and thy sons and thy wife,
Mhm.
and thy son's wife with thee.
On a side note, Noah had faith, but did he have to do something?
Mhm.
Okay, so he had to do something to get saved, right? He couldn't just sit there. If the Lord say, okay, well, build this ark, and he said, nah, I got faith, Lord, you build it. He would have died, right? Okay, so your faith has got to do something, okay? No, I'll just call your name when it starts raining. I'll just call on you, No, it doesn't work like that. Faith is an action word, okay, in biblical context, okay? Go ahead.
On verse 19.
Verse 19, brother.
And of every living thing of all flesh,
Mm-hmm.
2 of every sort shalt thou bring into the ark to keep them alive with thee.
Okay, so of every living thing of all flesh, 2 of every sort shall thou bring into the ark to keep them alive with thee. They shall be male and female. So we got one thing established. Go ahead, brother.
Of fowls after their kind,
Yep.
of cattle after their kind,
Yep.
of every creeping thing of the earth after his kind,
Mm-hmm.
2 of every sort shall come into thee
Mhm.
to keep them alive.
Yeah, so we got to keep them alive because they want to perpetuate the species after that, okay? Go ahead.
And take thou unto thee of all food that is eaten,
Mm-hmm.
and thou shalt gather it to thee,
Mm-hmm.
and it shall be for food for thee
Mhm.
and for them.
Okay, he didn't say eat the animals. He said the stuff that is food, bring that on there so you can eat, okay, onto the ark, okay? So that's what we had to do at first. Go ahead and finish at 22.
Thus did Noah, according to all that God commanded him, so did he.
Okay, so let's go to the next chapter, chapter 7. Chapter 7, okay? We're going to go to chapter 7, Genesis 7, okay? We know that Noah did exactly what the Lord commanded, and so we're going to look at that. So we just saw two. Bring two, and oh, by the way, bring some food, right? Now, Genesis 7, pick it up at verse 1.
And the Lord said unto Noah,
Mm-hmm.
Come thou and all thy house into the ark,
Mm-hmm.
for thee have I seen righteous before me in his generation.
Okay, so he's seen Noah to be righteous. And okay, so we saw the 2 by 2s, and all these years we've gone to Sunday church, they never really pointed this out, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Some people may have known it was here, but never pointed it out because it had a significant meaning to it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, verse 2, brother.
Of every clean beast thou shalt take to thee by 7.
Read that again, brother.
Of every clean beast thou shalt take to thee by 7.
Remix, do it again.
Of every clean beast thou shalt take to thee by 7.
Go ahead.
The male and his
Uh-huh.
female,
Uh-huh.
and of the beasts that are not clean by
Uh-huh.
2.
Oh, so clean 7, unclean 2. That's what we read, right?
Mm-hmm.
We don't have to make it up. We just read it. If someone can't deal with that, then, you can't help them, okay? You just say, hey, why in the beginning? Because they say, oh, that's for Israel. Do we have Israel in Genesis chapter 7 yet?
No.
No Israel.
Not yet.
No Israel. Not even, Abraham's not even here yet.
Hmm.
Okay, so no Israel on a planet, and Noah was not an Israelite, right? So Noah understood, okay, I need to get 2 of the unclean, 7 of the clean. Real simple, okay? Real simple. So the next time someone comes to you and be like, oh, that was for Israel. They say, well, what was clean and unclean was established way before Israel, bro. So that's what we're talking about. Didn't even get it to chapter 11 in Leviticus, which we'll go there. But right now we're in Genesis. No Levites, no Israelites, no Moses, nobody. Okay?
No Israel.
No Israel. No, just Noah. And as a matter of fact, in a little bit, it's going to be nobody except 8 people. Okay? And the rest is animals. So you can't, there's no Israel. So we got to understand that. So verse 2, he said, of every clean beast, thou shalt take to thee by 7s, male and his female, and of beasts that are not clean by 2, we just saw that in the last chapter, the male and the female. Verse 3, brother.
Of fowls also of the air by 7.
By 7.
The male and the female.
Yes, sir.
To keep seed alive upon the face of all earth.
So we can perpetuate that species, so it can keep going. Go ahead.
For yet 7 days, and I will cause it to rain upon the earth 40 days and 40 nights, and every living substance that I have made will I destroy from off the face of the earth.
Yes, sir.
And Noah did according unto all that the Lord commanded him.
Because Noah had faith. I'm sorry, sometimes we have to, learn something on the way of learning something. He did all that because he had faith. He believed God was telling him this, and he said, you know what? Family, we need to build an ark because God said so. And he did it because he believed God was going to do what he said he was going to do, which was flood the earth. Good thing he did, or else we wouldn't be here reading this. Okay, verse 6, brother.
And Noah was 600 years old when the flood of waters was upon the earth.
Okay, go ahead.
And Noah went in, and his sons, and his wife, and his son's wife with him into the ark, because of the waters of the flood of clean beasts, and of beasts and that are not clean, and of fowls, and of everything that creepeth upon the earth. There went in 2 and 2 unto Noah into the ark, the male and female, as God had commanded Noah.
Okay, let's go ahead and do verse 10 real quick.
And it came to pass after 7 days that the waters of the flood were upon the earth.
Okay, so now we know what happened. I just wanted to get all that so that we're all clear. I know some people, if you're seeing this video and you probably never read that verse or you kind of skipped over it, okay, that's why we wanted to point out clean was by 7 for a reason, okay? So if Noah, who never had a ribeye before, understands that he needed 7 clean, and he knew what it was, because when they start coming on the boat, you don't even have to be a genius to figure out. When they start coming on the boat, and the Lord said by 2s is going to be unclean. So when you see a pair come in, you say, okay, that's unclean, that's unclean, that's unclean, that's unclean. By 7, oh, that's clean. 7, that's clean. Real simple, right? As they start coming on the ark. Okay, so real simple. He understood that, okay? Anybody would understand that. You don't have to even know the name of the animal. If it comes by 2, it's unclean. Simple? Real simple, okay? So that's what we need to understand. Now, we're going to go to Genesis 9. See, we're just creeping forward through the Bible, and then we'll jump around a little bit, okay? Genesis 9. Let's go up 2 chapters, okay? Genesis chapter 9. And let's pick that up at verse 1. And when you get there, sir, let the Bible speak.
And God blessed Noah and his sons, and said unto them, Be fruitful, and multiply, and replenish the earth. And the fear of you and the dread of you shall be upon every beast of the earth.
See, at first, before the flood, man and animal came up in harmony, okay? Because animals then, I don't care if it was a lion, a tiger, a bear, oh my, they didn't eat other people or other animals before the flood. Okay, but right here we see where the fear of man was put into them. Now it's a free-for-all, almost, until he gives us a dietary law. Okay, but it's a free-for-all right now. Okay, so verse 2, it says, and the fear of you and the dread of you shall be upon every beast of the earth. Now, as a whole, animals fear us. That doesn't mean that an animal won't ever attack you. Just as a whole, there's enmity. Okay, so. And the fear of you, people, you know how some animals are domestic and some are not? Okay, so, something like, something to that effect. So, as a whole, man is feared by the beast. Okay, so, and the fear of you and the dread of you shall be upon every beast of the earth, And upon every fowl of the air, go ahead, brother.
Upon all the moveth upon the earth, and upon all the fishes of the sea,
go ahead.
Into your hand are they delivered.
Right, because we can conquer, it's because of, our intellect and weapons and things like that. We can conquer just about any animal, period, okay? We can conquer it with sufficient weaponry and know-how, okay? So, go ahead, verse 3.
Every moving thing that liveth shall be meat for you. Even as the green herb have I given you all things.
Yes, sir. Now, every moving thing that liveth shall be meat for you. That's a change, isn't it? This is after the flood. Every moving thing, because the plants didn't move before. So every moving thing, okay? Your strawberries and your grape and cantaloupe don't move. Well, if they do, don't eat it. But that's the kind of thing. Now we understand that there's a change, okay, of every moving thing. This is after the flood. After every moving thing that liveth is meat for you, even as just like the green herbs I gave you, okay? Even as the green herb have I given you all things. For?
But flesh with the life thereof, which is the blood thereof, shall ye not eat.
Now we can't eat blood. Go ahead, brother.
And surely your blood of your lives will I require. At the hand of every beast will I require it.
Yes.
And at the hand of man, at the hand of every man brother will I require the life of a man. Whoso sheddeth man's blood, by man shall his blood be shed.
Yep.
For in the image of God made he man.
So we shouldn't be killing each other. Again, he said don't kill each other, okay? So that's where we're starting. But verse 7.
And you, be ye fruitful and multiply. Bring forth abundantly in the earth and multiply therein.
Okay, so that's what he wanted us to do. He established his covenant. We can keep going and everything. But let's see if I want to go a little bit further in this. He just talked about his if you read further, he's talking about his covenant that he's making with Noah and his family. And then, of course, he put the rainbow out and said, this is a covenant. I'm not going to flood the earth anymore. If you want to finish reading Genesis 9, the rest of the chapter. But we're going to move forward. We're going to go to Leviticus 10, okay? Now we're going to go to Leviticus 10. So now he said he put meat on the table, but not to eat blood. Okay, so that means you got to strike some fire and cook it. Genesis 10, and chapter 10, and let's read verse 8. Leviticus 10, yes. Leviticus 10, okay? And we're going to go to...
If Noah ate pork, then there would be no pigs today.
Exactly. If he would have been only 2, and he would have ate one, oops, I know, right? Exactly. And you know what? That's a good question you can ask somebody. You can, yeah. Just one of them. If you ask someone and say, after the flood, if he ate a pig, we wouldn't have any more. So nah, he didn't. He didn't do that. Didn't. We can also read further. We didn't go there this time, but we can also read further when after he got off the ark, then he made a sacrifice. Do you think he sacrificed something clean or unclean? There you go. It's real simple. There you go. So the reason why we do the class is because I like to do some instruction. I like to equip and edify our brothers and sisters because you're going to come under attack.
I like to
edify. We like to edify the people because you're going to come under attack. Someone's going to say some little remark or something like that. And I want you to be ready. Okay. I want you to say, you know what? There was 2 unclean and 7 unclean. That's how they went on the ark, and that's well before the dietary law came into effect. He established it before it came into effect. So that's why I want everyone to understand that. Leviticus 10, let's pick it up at verse 8, because it's important that we put a difference. So Leviticus 10, pick it up at verse 8, brother.
And the Lord spake unto Aaron, saying, Do not drink wine, nor strong drink, thou nor thy sons with thee, when you go into the tabernacle of the congregation, lest ye die.
You're a priest, you cannot go servicing the Lord drunk. It's not that you can't ever drink wine unless, of course, you do the Nazirite vow. But it's not like you can't ever drink wine. But he said to Aaron, he said, don't go in the congregation, okay, in the tabernacle, drunk. You can't do that. So that's all that means, okay? So do not drink wine nor strong drink, thou nor thy sons with thee, when you go into the tabernacle of the congregation, lest ye die. Go ahead, brother.
It shall be a statute forever throughout your generation.
Go ahead, 10. 10 tell us why. Why?
And that ye may put difference between holy and unholy.
And what else?
And between unclean and clean.
That's why we do it. That's what we have to do today. We have to put a difference between clean and unclean, holy and unholy. We got to know the difference. If you don't know the difference, how can you practice it? If you don't know the difference, it doesn't make any sense. That's why we do that. Now, let me ask you a question. Did God put a difference between the clean and unclean animals? Now we know the difference. Okay? We still hadn't got to the Levitical law yet, the dietary law yet. But we're about to. Verse 11, brother.
And that ye may teach the children of Israel all the statutes which the Lord hath spoken unto them by the hand of Moses.
That's why what we're trying to do is understand. We're going into Torah to understand what's the difference between the clean and the unclean. Okay? So we studied last week cleanliness, the cleanliness law. We looked at that. We put a difference between what's clean, what's not clean. This week we're doing dietary, but we're going to go even deeper, okay? We're starting off light, but we're going to pick up some steam in just a second. Now, let's go to Leviticus 11 where we find the dietary law, and we're going to pick it up at verse 1. Okay? So we'll go to Leviticus chapter 11 and we're going to pick it up at verse 1. We're just going to break it down a little bit, and we're going to go from there.
And the Lord spake unto Moses and to Aaron, saying unto them, Speak unto the children of Israel, saying. Now,
what people like to do, they said, see that dietary law? He says, speak unto the children of Israel. And now we know we're going to go into the dietary law. Then you say, well, then you need to explain Genesis to me, because there were no Levites or Israel in there. Okay? So that's all you got to do. That's what they're going to do. They're going to try, speak unto the children of Israel. See, he was talking to Israel. Okay, go ahead, brother.
Speak unto the children of Israel, saying, These are the beasts which ye shall eat among all the beasts that are on the earth. Whatsoever parteth the hoof, and is cloven-footed, and cheweth the cud, among the beasts, that shall ye eat.
That, see, he gave us the characteristics. So it's not even important that you necessarily know the name. You understand? So if you are out in the wilderness or something, and there happen to be all kinds of animals, okay, this one is of the bovine nature, and you see a buffalo, you know, a cow, something like a deer, you're going to say, as you observe, you're going to say, okay, it's cloven-footed, it chews cud, meaning it chews grass and spit it up and swallow it down and all that stuff, or it has multiple stomachs. But looking at it, you won't know that. We just know that now. Chews the cud, okay, among the beasts, that you shall eat. It parts the hooves, it chews the cud, you know, it's cloven-footed, that you shall eat. Verse 4, brother.
Nevertheless, these shall ye not eat of them that chew the cud, or of them that divided the hoof.
Okay, so this is the ones you shall not eat. Okay, go ahead. Even though they chew cud. Go ahead.
Hold on 1 second. I get lost my face with it. Oh,
Verse 4.
As the camel, because he cheweth the cud, but divideth not the hoof.
His hoof is not divided. Go ahead.
He is unclean unto you.
Is he putting a difference between the clean and unclean right now? He's breaking it down. Go ahead.
And the coney, because he cheweth the cud, but divideth not the hoof, he is unclean unto you.
He put a difference again. Go ahead.
And the hare, also known as a rabbit,
as a rabbit,
because he cheweth the cud, but divideth not the hoof, he is unclean unto you.
Somebody, if anyone have internet access right now, go ahead and look up that coney. I think I know, but I don't want to say the wrong thing.
It's actually like some kind of rodent.
It is kind of like a rodent or something?
Yeah.
Well, someone look it up, and we'll go back to it, and just raise your hand when you got it, and we'll bring you in. Okay, so, and it said in verse 6, and the hare, because he cheweth the cud, but divided not the hoof, he is unclean to you. Okay? The big one, you got Coney, brother?
Yeah.
Read Coney for me, nice and loud.
There's two of them.
Go ahead.
There's a rabbit and a small grouper fish.
Okay, so since we're talking about land animals, we're going to go with the rabbit thing. So, no, can't eat that, okay? Can't eat that. Now, here's the $1 million one, verse 7. Go ahead.
And the swine, and the pork, and the pig.
Yeah, there you go.
And the pork bacon.
There you go. It's
pork
the bacon, the pork chop.
Though he divided the hoof and be cloven-footed, yet he cheweth not the cud.
Okay.
He is unclean to you.
He is unclean to you. So if you don't know what that is, or you're pretending not to know what that is pork. Okay? Yeah. So that is pork. No bacon, no pig's feet, no hog maws, no pork chops, no what? Baby backs. They love that. That's big. Baby backs, none of that. No chitlins, 3 pots, none of that stuff. chicharrones, pig skins. Yeah, none of that. Gotta go. None of that. Why? Because it is unclean to you. Now, because I say so, but if you're serving this Lord, it's because he says so. It's unclean. It didn't say because it's not delicious to you. Okay? He said it's unclean to you. All right? Verse 8. Go ahead.
Of their flesh shall ye not eat, and their carcass shall ye not touch. They are unclean to you.
They are unclean to you. Well, why do we have pigs? I don't know. Ask him, okay? But for farmers, they are just garbage disposals, okay? That's why. So if them being garbage disposal and you have a trash can at home, go lick that. If you think that's okay, okay? Go eat out of your trash can. Ooh, that's gross. Well, it's the same thing. They are natural garbage disposals. Okay. What do they do on a farm if you've ever been on a farm and they got all kinds of little apple cores and corn cobs and all that stuff and slop and all that, and they just throw it out there to the pigs, right? Am I lying? That's what they do.
They gave us an example in Flintstone.
Same thing.
Yeah, they have.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, right under the sink, the pig.
It's the garbage disposal.
That's what it is.
It's the pig.
Yeah, the Flintstones even told you that. Okay, they are garbage disposal. That's what they are. I'm sorry, that's what it is. We don't have to get into the science of it. Of course, you can go research that, and you'll see. You know, and I know worms remain in their meat and all in their flesh and all that stuff. They are disgusting. I'm sorry. Yeah. I'm sorry. And I know some people changed the channel. They clicked on a different video. This dude up there talking about bacon is disgusting. Get him out of here. Sorry. I'm just saying, that's what it is. Verse 9, brother. Go ahead.
These shall ye eat of all that are in the waters. Whatsoever hath fins and scales in the waters, in the seas, and in the rivers, them ye shall eat.
You know what? I like the way Yah makes it very, very simple. And I'm going to tell you what I mean by that. You go out there and you fish. And you catch something. I mean, you don't know what you caught until you pull it in. You catch something, you pull it in. What are the first two things you need to look for? Fins and scales. If it has that, you can eat it. If not, throw it back. He made it real simple. You don't even have to know the name of that fish. If it has fins and scales, I can eat it. That simple. That's why he did that. Okay? Real simple. I love how he did that. Verse 10, brother.
And all that have not fins and scales in the seas and in the rivers, of all that move in the water, and of all living thing which is in the water, they shall be an abomination unto you.
So you eat it, you make yourself abominable. They are abomination unto you. The fact that they exist is not an abomination. When you eat it, it becomes an abomination. Okay? It's an abomination unto you. They serve a purpose. Even if you don't know what it is, if he says don't eat it, you don't eat it. It's really that simple. But go ahead, brother.
They shall be even an abomination unto you.
Yep.
Ye shall not eat of their flesh.
Yep.
But ye shall have their carcasses in abomination.
Go ahead, brother.
Whatsoever has no fins nor scales in the water, thou shalt be an abomination unto you. I think he's making it pretty clear.
Yeah. He keeps saying it over and over. Yeah. He's like, I'm sensing a theme here. Every couple of lines, he said, that's an abomination. Or that's abomination. Now, if we look up the word abomination, we know it's abhorrent, something detestable. Okay? So you consume that, you become detestable. So you guys, help me out. What's on the menu at seafood restaurants?
Catfish. Catfish.
Yeah. Abomination. Go ahead and name some. Crab?
Catfish.
Catfish? Lobster? Shrimp?
Let's go to catfish.
Yeah. Crawfish? Abomination. You got gator, you go to a Cajun restaurant, scallops. They're in little shells, mollusks and clams, mussel, calamari.
Alligator.
So when the Lord looks down, he sees a lot of abomination that we're eating, right? Yeah. Yeah. So when he said this is a wicked world, you see why. And that's just the food part. Okay? We're not talking about everything. We're talking about one part. One part. And that's abomination. So just what we're eating, we're committing abominations in his sight. That's just the eating. Okay? That's not all the other treachery and atrocities that we've committed. Not just that. I'm talking just eating. That's it. You cannot do that. So by the time breakfast is over, you've already committed abomination. You hadn't even headed out the door yet. That's how bad it is. That's how easy it is. First thing they do, get the coffee going, sizzling that bacon, ready to go. Or sausage. You walk out the door abominable. And you, thank God you woke me up this morning. Oh, thank God. Come on now. We got to do better than that. Yeah, we got to do better than that. I mean, it's right here. That's why we like to point out, we like to emphasize and say, wait a minute, let's not just speed past it. Okay? If we got to walk in this world circumspect, we got to be, aware of some of these things. Okay? We're not talking about sins and ignorance. I'm talking about a deliberate BLT going into your mouth. Okay? I'm not talking about something you don't know. That's why you have that grace and that mercy. Okay? That's why you have that. Mistakes like that happen, but I'm talking about when you just do it on purpose, on cue, every morning, every day. Number one breakfast meat in the morning is pork, hands down. Everyone knows that. Hands down, period. Okay, so go ahead with verse 13, brother. Go ahead.
And these are they which ye shall have an abomination among the fowls.
So now we know that some seafood can make us abominable. Now, and we know some land animals can make us abominable, namely swine. And now we're going to see what kind of fowl can make us abominable. Go ahead, brother.
They shall not be eaten.
Mm-hmm.
They are an abomination. The eagle,
mm-hmm.
and the osprey,
yep.
and the osprey,
yes,
and the vulture,
mm-hmm.
and the kite after his kind,
yep.
Every raven after his kind,
mm-hmm.
and the owl, and the nighthawk, and the
cacao,
mm-hmm. and the hawk after his kind,
yep.
and the little owl,
mm-hmm.
and the cormorant,
yep.
and the great owl.
Are we noticing that most of these, I didn't say all, I said most of these are birds of prey? Mm-hmm. If we notice that, now not all, but most of them are birds of prey. Go ahead, brother.
And the swan,
mm-hmm.
and the pelican,
mm-hmm.
and the greer eagle,
yep.
and the stork, and the heron after her kind,
mm-hmm.
and the lapwing, and the bat.
Anybody want some bat?
No, just...
Okay. Guano. No, none of that?
Mm-hmm.
No bat droppings or anything? None of that? Mm-hmm. Some people actually eat that stuff. They actually eat that stuff. Verse 20, brother.
All fowls that creep going upon all four
mm-hmm.
shall be an abomination unto you.
Yes, sir.
Yet these may ye eat of every flying creeping thing that
mm-hmm.
goes upon all four,
mm-hmm.
which have legs upon their feet to leap withal upon the earth.
Okay.
Even these of them you may eat,
mm-hmm.
the locust after his kind.
Yes, you can eat a locust. Yes, you can. Okay, John the Baptist, you can eat locust and honey. Yes, you can eat locust. It's clean. Okay, that is a clean animal. So if you're in a desperate situation, you can eat locust. Okay, go ahead.
And the bald locust,
which is a different kind of locust, but go ahead.
And the beetle
mm-hmm.
after his kind, and
mm-hmm.
the grasshopper after his kind.
So it sounds like Timon and Pumbaa got it right, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, locusts, grasshoppers, and beetles. You can eat all that. That's fine. Mm-hmm. That's perfectly fine. Thus says the Lord. Go ahead, 23.
But all other flying creeping things
mm-hmm.
which have 4 feet
mm-hmm.
shall be an abomination unto you.
Go ahead, brother.
And for these ye shall be unclean.
mm-hmm.
Whosoever toucheth the carcass of them shall be unclean unto the evening.
Okay, so if you touch a dead animal, okay, you are unclean until the next day. Now, that doesn't mean you can never touch something, because we have to like bury our loved ones and stuff like that. So you will come in contact with something dead. Because some people I don't want you to let some Sunday Christian try to tell you how the Bible goes, okay? So they're going to say, well, see, you can't touch anything dead, and the food that you're eating, oh, that's dead and all that. Okay, no, you can, okay? But he's saying if you touch the carcass of something, you're dead until evening. Now, remember when people were hung, and you know how in the law it said they cannot remain up there on the tree overnight? You got to touch them, and you got to bring them down, and you got to bury them. So you do have to touch something dead, right? Mm. It's just that you're unclean until the evening, till the next day. Go wash yourself. It's just its instructions, exactly. There are instructions. So don't let someone come over there and say, oh, you can't touch nothing. You can't. Calm down, okay? Kill all that noise. Go ahead, brother.
And whosoever beareth out of the carcass of them shall wash his clothes.
And do what?
And be unclean unto the evening.
Unclean until the next day, at evening. Okay? Unclean until the evening. Go ahead, brother.
The carcasses of every beast
mm-hmm.
which divided the hoof,
mm-hmm.
and is not cloven-footed,
mm-hmm.
nor cheweth the cud,
mm-hmm.
are unclean unto you.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone that toucheth them shall be unclean.
Now, it didn't say everyone that touches is going to die immediately or nothing like that. It said you're going to be unclean, right? Mm-hmm. So don't let someone try to tell you how it goes when you're reading it for yourself. If they say something contrary to this, then you have to decide, okay, am I going to believe what I just read, or am I going to believe some Yahoo telling me on the street? Okay? If they're not coming, if they don't speak according to the law and the testimony, you don't have time for that. Okay, go ahead, brother.
And whatsoever goeth upon his paws,
Mm-hmm.
among all manner of the beasts that go on all four,
Mm-hmm.
those are unclean unto you.
Go ahead.
Whoso toucheth their carcass shall be unclean unto the even.
Yes, sir.
And he that beareth the carcass of them shall wash his clothes,
Yep.
and be unclean until the even.
Uh-huh.
They are all unclean unto you.
So what are you going to do? You are going to wash your clothes and be unclean until the evening, right? We don't have to add anything to it. We don't have to take anything away from it. We just say, you know what? Wow, I touched something dead. I'm going to wash my clothes, okay, and be unclean till the next day. That's how it goes, okay? Go ahead, brother.
These also shall be unclean unto you among the creeping things that creep upon the earth.
Go ahead.
The weasel, and the mouse, and the tortoise after his kind,
Yes.
and the ferret, and the chameleon, and the lizard, and the snail, and the mole.
No more escargot. No more of that. No more snails. Go ahead.
These are unclean to you among all the creep. Whosoever doth touch them, when they be dead, shall be unclean unto the even.
Unclean unto the even. Again, it didn't say you're going to die immediately, okay? It just said you don't take them out to camp and go stone them, okay? They're unclean until the evening because things like that will happen, okay? Go ahead.
And upon whatsoever any of them, when they are dead, doth fall, it shall be unclean, whether it be in any vessel of wood, or raiment, or skin or sack, whatsoever vessel it be, wherein any work is done, it must be put into water, and it shall be unclean unto the even.
Okay.
So it shall be clean.
Okay, so anything something is unclean in, okay, then that vessel is unclean. Well, what do you mean, Robert? Okay, so if you have like a seafood gumbo, you can't say, well, I'll pick out the crab legs. It's all unclean. Understand?
Same thing with pepperoni.
You have beans or frijoles, and you know a lot of times they like to put bacon in it. Oh, I just won't eat the bacon. No, all the beans are unclean, okay, and the vessel. So the beans need to be dumped out, of course, the bacon too, and wash the pot. It is unclean, okay? It is the broth of abomination. You cannot just eat around it, okay? He just said everything, whatsoever any of them, when they are dead, doth fall, it shall be unclean, whether it be in any vessel of wood or in a raiment. If sometimes we put things in sacks and stuff, cook it certain ways, or in a skin or in a sack or whatsoever vessel it be in, whatever. A pot's a vessel, right? A pan's a vessel. All of that's unclean, okay? You don't need any of that, okay? It needs to not be in any of that stuff, okay? Go ahead, brother. 33.
And every earthen vessel,
Yep.
whereinto any of them falleth,
Yep.
whatsoever is in it shall be unclean.
Yep.
And you shall break it.
Okay, so some of these vessels and stuff, you just break it, just get rid of it. You just every earthen vessel wherein any of them falleth, like died in it, whatsoever it is in it shall be unclean, and ye shall break it. So just destroy it. Okay, so just destroy it. 34.
Of all meat which may be eaten, that on which such water cometh shall be unclean, and all drink that may be drunk in every such vessel shall be unclean.
Yes, sir.
And everything whereupon any part of their carcass falleth shall be unclean, whether it be oven or ranges for pots.
Yes, sir.
They shall be broken down,
Yes,
for they
sir.
are unclean, and shall be unclean unto you.
Get rid of all that. Get rid of all of that. Okay? Clean stuff out, other stuff, throw it away. Clean the other stuff and the rest, throw it away. These little vessels that all kinds of abominable stuff is being cooked in, throw it away. Go ahead, brother.
Nevertheless, a fountain or pit, wherein there is plenty of water, shall be clean.
Uh-huh.
But that which touches their carcass shall be unclean.
Go ahead.
And if any part of the carcass fall upon any sowing seed, which is to be sown, it shall be clean.
Go ahead.
But if any water be put upon the seed, and any part of the carcass fall thereon, it shall be unclean unto you.
Go ahead.
And if any beast of which you may eat die, he that toucheth the carcass thereof shall be unclean unto the even.
Yes, sir.
And he that eateth of the carcass of it shall wash his clothes, and be unclean unto the even. He also that beareth the carcass of it shall wash his clothes, and be unclean unto the even.
Yes, sir.
And every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth shall be an abomination. It shall not be eaten.
Shall not be eaten. 42.
Whatsoever goeth upon the belly,
Like a snake. Go ahead.
whatsoever goeth upon all four,
Okay, like a tiger or anything. Go ahead.
or whatsoever hath more feet among all creeping things that creep upon the earth,
Like a spider, a centipede, or all that stuff. Go ahead.
them you shall not eat,
Mhm.
for they are an abomination.
Cannot eat that. Go ahead.
You shall not make yourselves abominable. with any creeping thing that creepeth.
You see that? He said, you shall not make yourself abominable. Earlier I said, if you eat something abominable, it makes you abominable, right? That's what he said. You shall not make yourselves abominable with any creeping thing that creepeth, okay? Or anything that he calls abominable. If you eat it, it makes you abominable. Well, go ahead.
Neither shall you make yourselves unclean with them.
You become unclean. Go ahead.
That you should be defiled thereby.
That defiles you. So when you eat something that you should not eat, anything that is unclean, it defiles you. And like the brother said earlier, our body is the temple. That's what he means. Keep this temple clean. Okay, because the Spirit's supposed to dwell in there. So if you got someone and they're eating pork and eating unclean and they say, oh, they got the Holy Spirit, do you believe them? No. No. He's not going to go inside that body, okay? Because we're cleaning ourselves out right now. It's an abominable temple. Why would he go there? It's an abominable temple. I'm not talking about us when we used to. Well, we pushed all that stuff out. Okay? We purged out the leaven, start to live right, be a new creature in Christ. Then you will get the Holy Spirit when you repent. Be baptized, all that. You get a fresh start. You're a new creature in Christ, okay? While we're yet alive. A new creature. Then the Spirit does not mind resting on you. It's funny how Christ, when he cast out some demons, what kind of animal he sent them in? A pig. He didn't put it in a lamb. Interesting, huh? We got to think about that stuff sometime. We really do. Got to think about that. Verse 44, brother, go ahead.
For I am the Lord your God. You shall therefore sanctify yourself.
That's how you be sanctified. If you eat right, you're sanctified. You're set apart. There's a difference between the holy and the unholy, the clean and the unclean. There's a difference between clean people and unclean people. And I don't mean deodorant. Okay? So I'm talking about you eat right, you are clean, according to the Bible. Okay, that's it. According to the Bible. Go ahead, brother.
I'm going to read that again. For I am the Lord your God. You shall therefore sanctify yourself. And you shall be holy. For I am holy.
The name of the class. You shall be holy, for I am holy. So for me sticking it in the middle of the dietary law, it's okay. It's appropriate. I just stuck it right. It's right, sit right there in the middle of the dietary law. So someone say, well, how can I be holy? Well, one way you can eat right. Right? You didn't make it up. You didn't interpolate, meaning grab it from somewhere else. We say we can go right into the dietary law, Leviticus 11, and it tells us how we can be holy. One of the ways. It tells us how we can be holy. So you can start with eating right, and you can be holy. That's simple. Okay, so read it again, brother, without any commercial interruption.
For I am the Lord your God. You shall therefore sanctify yourself. And you shall be holy. For I am holy. Neither shall you defile yourself with any manner of creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth.
Go ahead.
For I am the Lord that bringeth you out of the land of the Egypt to be your God. You shall therefore be holy, for I am holy.
Go ahead, brother.
This is the law of the beast and of the fowl and of every living creature that moveth in the waters and of every creature that creepeth upon the earth.
Now he said, and when you look at verse 46, he said, this is the law. Okay, now he spells it out of the beast and the fowl and the living creature and all that, but this is the law. So this is a dietary law, right? This is a law. Now 47, and let's see why. 47.
To make a difference between the unclean and the clean, and between the beast that may be eaten and the beast that may not be eaten.
That's a law. He sat there and told us all that. Read the whole chapter and he told us what's clean, what's not clean. What defiles you? What makes you abominable? It really is that simple. Now, what we're going to do something real simple. Let's go over to the Apocrypha. Yes, I said the Apocrypha. Now, some people have been following us. We know I got a lesson. What about the lost books? And I say, I have some issues with it. Okay. But I said it's okay for a reference. Okay. Now, if you want to know the issues, the things that don't harmonize with traditional canon, just go to that lesson. What about the lost books, and you'll see. But with this being a dietary law, we want to eat the meat and spit out the bones. We want to see something that's there. Okay. Okay? We're talking about clean meat. We're going to eat the meat, spit out the bones. We're going to look at 2 Maccabees. Okay? Because I use it as a reference. We look at it. Okay? Now, some people, they think it is inspired. Some people don't think it's expired. Some people think it's historical and it has a few inaccuracies. Some people think it's spot on with everything. I just caution you to make sure there is some harmony, okay? And then when there is no harmony, you have to decide what you're going to believe. You're going to believe the 66, or you're going to throw it out and you believe extra stuff, okay? But there is some truth in there, okay? There is some harmony in there, and we're going to go to the harmony. That makes sense? So 2 Maccabees 6. Let's go to 2 Maccabees 6. I know most people don't have that, so just listen up, and we're going to pull out something for you real quick. So 2 Maccabees 6. Are you there, brother? Okay, when you get to 6, let's pick it up at verse 18, okay? We're still dealing with the dietary law, but I want you to look at something here. We're going to go over here once or twice. So 2 Maccabees 6 and verse 18. Go ahead, brother.
Eleazar, one of the principal scribes, an aged man, of well-favored countenance, was constrained to open his mouth and to eat swine's flesh.
What? He said, now, Eleazar, and I'm doing it in a Douay-Rheims version so you guys can get a clear understanding. He's reading it out the King James. I'm reading out the Douay-Rheims only so that we can understand, okay, so that it's clear. He said, Eleazar, one of the chief of the scribes, a man advanced in years and of a comely countenance, was pressed to open his mouth to eat swine's flesh. 19, brother.
But he, choosing rather to die gloriously than live stained with such an abomination, spit it forth and came of his own accord to the torment.
Okay, he said, but he, choosing rather a most glorious death than a hateful life, went forward voluntarily to the torment. 20.
And his behold them to come, that are resolute to stand against such things, as are not lawful for the love of life to be tasted.
Okay, and he said, considering in what manner he was come to it, patiently bearing, he determined not to do any unlawful things for the love of life. Okay, so he was ready to give up his life rather than eat pork. Remember, this is about pork. Okay, this is during the Maccabean period. For those who don't know, this is between Malachi and Matthew. Okay, this is a period between Malachi and Matthew. Okay, they were compelled, okay, by the Greeks to eat pork. And Eleazar said no. Okay, go ahead, brother.
But they had the charge of that wicked feast, for an old acquaintance they had with the man.
Yep.
Taking him aside, besought him to bring flesh of his own provision, such as was lawful for him to use, and to make as he did eat the flesh taken from the sacrifice commanded by the king.
See, so this is, I'll tell you what they've done. He said, but they that stood by, being moved with wicked pity. Okay, these people knew Eleazar, and they kind of felt sorry for him because he's an old man. He was like 90 years old, and we'll read that. So he was an old man, and they're like, okay, let's see what we can do. Okay, let's see what we can do for him. He said, but they stood by, being moved with wicked pity for the old friendship they had with the man. They knew him, old dude. He knew him. Taking him aside, desired that flesh might be brought, which it was lawful for him to eat. But see, there's a reason why they said that. So they want to give him some other meat that is lawful for him. Okay, pretending that it is the king's meat. Okay, pretending that it is pork. Okay, so we're going to give you something. It's not pork, but just so we don't have to kill you. So you don't get killed. And he said, might be brought, which was lawful for him to eat, that he might make as if he had eaten, as the king had commanded of the flesh of the sacrifice. All right, go ahead, brother.
That in so doing he might be delivered from death.
So he wouldn't be put to death. Go ahead.
And for the old friendship with them find favor.
Okay, so they were trying to take it easy. They're like, look, we're going to give you some other kind of meat. They didn't say what kind, but hey, we're going to give you a piece of turkey, pretend like it's bacon and don't worry about it, Pretend like it's, the pork, don't worry about it. So that way you don't have to die. Go ahead, brother.
But he began to consider discreetly. and became his age, the excellency of his ancient years, and the honor of his gray head, whereinto he was come, and his most honest education from a child.
Yes.
Rather the holy law made and given by God. Therefore he answered accordingly, and will give them straightway to send him to the grave.
Okay.
Yep.
This is what he said. He said, no, because he started to think about it. He said, look, man, I'm 90 years old. We'll get to his age because people will be like, oh, you're just putting it out there. No, he said, well, he's about 90 years old. He was thinking, he said, look, I'm an old man. I've been walking in this law my whole life. Now I got everybody else looking at me. And if I eat pork, having these people think who've seen my manner of life, who've seen my conversation or whatever, that's going to mess up my whole testimony. That's going to tell them I gave up on the Most High.
Yep.
That's what it's going to tell them. I can't do that. You just might as well kill me. But you read 23, right?
That's correct.
He said, but he began to consider the dignity of his age and his ancient years and the inbred honor of his gray head and his good life and conversation from a child. And he answered without delay, according to the ordinance of the holy law made by God. Didn't we just read that in Leviticus? Yep. Okay. Made by God, saying that he would rather be sent into the other world. You kill me. Kill me.
Yep.
Go ahead, brother.
For it becometh not our age, said he, in any wise to dissemble, whereby many young persons might think that Eleazar, being 80 years old and 10.
80 is how? 90. 80, 90 years old. Okay, go ahead.
Were now gone to a strange religion, and so they through mind hypocrisy desired to live a little time and moment longer.
Look at that. Look at what he said. He said, for it doth not become of our age. Okay, I'm an old man. I got to set a good example. He said to disassemble, whereby many young persons might think that Eleazar, at the age of 80 years, was gone over to the life of the heathens. He gave up on the Most High. Look at him, man. He's 90 years old. He was doing this, he was doing this dietary law and everything. He just gave up if he were to eat that or pretend to eat it. Okay? And if you think about that, if he pretended, now, did he sin to God if he ate a clean piece of meat? No. But is it a bad thing to make everybody else watching who's following, who he probably taught a bunch of them, because he was a scribe and a priest, he taught a bunch of them, so to have them think he ate unclean meat? Yep. That would be pretty bad, wouldn't it? Yep. Okay? So he like, no, I can't do that. And I'm an old man anyway. Why am I trying to spare my own life or whatever? Send me to the Lord. Okay, go ahead.
Should be deceived by me.
Yes. And
I get stained to my old age and make it abominable.
Make myself look bad. That's an abominable thing. Why would I do that? Because I'm going to mess them up. I'm going to mess the young people watching me. I'm going to mess them up. Okay? He said, and so they, through my dissimulation, and for a many, let me make sure I didn't go, okay, I didn't go for that, 25. And so they, through my dissimulation, and for a little time of a corruptible life, should be deceived, and hereby I should bring a stain and a curse upon my old age. 90 years would have been wasted, okay, just because I'm scared to be put to death. I'm 90. I'm scared to be put to death, and if I'm scared to be put to death, I'm going to cause all of them to stumble, that when the heat gets turned up, when the pressure is on, fold. Don't worry about it. Well, God don't understand. Nope. Why didn't Eleazar tell the people watching, just go ahead and do what the king said, God don't understand? Why didn't he tell them that? Yeah, because apparently he won't understand. Apparently. He said, don't fear him who can destroy the body, right?
That's right.
But I'll tell you who to fear. So if you're worrying about a man killing you, okay, so someone come to you, that's why we teach like this. Why? Because we're trying to equip you. Build up your faith. Build up your courage, because one day your faith will be tested. One day your faith will be tested. The question is, can you follow? Can you win these small tests? Because if you can't pass the small one, you're not going to pass the big one.
Yeah.
Can you pass, eat this pork with a gun to your head? Or are you going to say, well, God will understand? Or are you going to say, squeeze the trigger? I can't answer that for you. I cannot answer that question for you. I'm asking the question. It's rhetorical. You need to ask yourself that question. But apparently Eleazar said, you know what? No. I'm not eating the pork. All this for pork. All this for pork. What verse are you on, brother?
26.
Go ahead.
For though for the present time I should be delivered from the punishment of men.
Don't fear men that can destroy the body. Go ahead.
Yet should I not escape the hand of the Almighty, neither alive nor dead.
Okay, so if I did do this, I can get away from the punishment of men, but when I do finally die, I can't get away from the punishment of God. That's leading people astray.
Yep.
You can't just lead people astray. Go ahead, brother.
Wherefore now, manfully changing this life, I will show myself such as one as my age requireth.
Go ahead.
And leave a notable example.
I'm going to act my age. Go ahead, brother.
And leave a notable example to such as be young to die willingly and courageously for the honorable and holy laws.
Yes.
And when he said...
Wait, he's dying for the holy laws.
For the honorable and holy laws.
He's going to die for the honorable and holy laws. See, this is an example for you and me, brother. Brothers and sisters, that's an example for us. Are you willing to die for the holy laws? That's a question you have to ask yourself, because one day your faith will be tested. Go ahead, brother. What verse are you on?
I'm still on 28.
Go ahead.
And when he had said these words, immediately he went to the torment.
Okay, and then this version it says, and I shall leave an example of fortitude to young men. I'm dying as an example for the young men. I shall leave an example of fortitude to young men, if with a ready mind and constancy I suffer an honorable death for the most venerable and most holy laws. Excuse me. And have spoken thus, he was forthwith carried to execution. 29, brother. Thank you.
They that led him changing the good, will they bear him a little before into hatred, because his foresaid speeches proceeded.
Go ahead.
As they thought from a desperate mind.
Go ahead.
But when he was ready to die, with stripes he groaned, and said, It is manifest unto the Lord that hath the holy knowledge, that whereas I might be been delivered from death, I now endure sore pains in body by being beaten. But in soul am I well content to suffer these things, because I fear him.
So I'm okay getting beaten. I'm about to die. They're about to kill me, but I'm okay suffering this for God. Go ahead, brother. 31, last verse.
And thus this man died, leaving his death for an example of a noble courage and a memorial of virtue, not only unto young men, but to all his nation.
Do you understand that? Are we grasping, are we getting the gravitas of the situation? Are we getting this right here? He said, thus did this man die, leaving not only to young men, but also the whole nation, the memory of his death for an example of virtue and fortitude. So I'm telling you, if you are able to keep this dietary law unto death, okay, even though it might be shameful. Thank you, brother. It might be shameful, well, y'all keeping that dietary law. We're not under that law. Or what are you, you're Judaizing and all that other stuff or whatever, okay? You need to ask yourself, is it worth it? This little persecution. See, what we get today, that's a little persecution compared to Eleazar's persecution, right? So who are we, okay? Who are we to complain about some people looking at us because we tell them, I can't eat that, it has pork in it, I can't eat that or whatever. So who are we to say that little bit of discomfort is a big deal compared to this? I think we all need to do a little bit of self, analysis right there. We need to kind of reevaluate what we think is tough and what's not tough. I'm not saying that we have not faced a little bit of discomfort, because indeed we have. But is it this one? Yeah. But is it this uncomfortable? Where someone's going to kill you for not taking a bite? Yep. We have to have the courage of our convictions, brothers and sisters. So join us for part 2 of this lesson. And this lesson is, be ye holy, for I am holy. And until next time, search the scriptures and prove all things.